Once upon a time, in a quiet little village nestled between green hills and sparkling streams, there lived a boy named Kabir. Kabir was bright, full of curiosity, and always eager to learn new things. He loved reading, drawing, playing, and trying out anything that sparked his interest. People admired his intelligence, but there was one thing Kabir struggled with. He could never stick to one thing for long. If he started reading a book, his mind would wander to the game he wanted to play. If he sat down to draw, he would soon think of a story he wanted to write. Kabir jumped from one activity to another so quickly that he never completed anything. His father, a wise and patient man, often said, "Kabir, a mind without focus is like a lamp without oil. It cannot light the path to success." But Kabir, lost in his many hobbies and interests, rarely paid attention. One sunny morning, news spread through the village that a wise old man had arrived. He was known far and wide for his wisdom and for guiding young people to find direction in life. Kabir's curiosity immediately sparked. "Perhaps he can tell me why I can't succeed," Kabir thought. He ran to meet the old man and asked, "Sir, I try so many things. I read, I play, I draw, I study, but nothing seems to work. I never feel successful. Why is that?" The wise man smiled, his eyes twinkling, and said, "Kabir, success is not about doing many things. It's about focusing your mind on one thing at a time. Come, let me show you." He handed Kabir a magnifying glass and a simple task. "Take this glass, go outside into the sunlight, and try to burn a piece of paper." Kabir eagerly ran outside, holding the magnifying glass. He moved it back and forth, up and down, over the paper. He tried different angles and positions, but nothing happened. Frustrated, he exclaimed, "It's not working." The old man chuckled gently. "Kabir, you are making the same mistake you make in life. You scatter your attention from one thing to another. Focus, my boy. Keep the glass steady at one point." Kabir took a deep breath and tried again. This time, he held the magnifying glass still, concentrating on a single spot on the paper. Slowly, a thin wisp of smoke appeared. Then, before he knew it, a small flame burst forth and the paper began to burn. Kabir's eyes widened in awe and amazement. The wise man placed a hand on Kabir's shoulder and said, "Do you see, Kabir? The sunlight was always powerful, but only when you focused it at one point did it create fire. Your mind is just like that. It is full of potential, but if you scatter it, you waste it. If you focus it, you can accomplish incredible things." Kabir walked home with his mind racing. He remembered all the time he had spent switching from one hobby to another, starting and abandoning countless projects. That day, he realized how much energy he had wasted and how little he had achieved. He made a promise to himself. From now on, he would give his full attention to whatever he did. Days turned into weeks, and Kabir practiced this new way of living. When he studied with complete focus. When he played wholeheartedly. When he was with his family, he gave them his undivided attention. At first, it was challenging. His old habits of distraction pulled at him constantly, but he reminded himself of the fire in the paper and kept trying. Gradually, Kabir noticed changes. He felt calmer, more confident, and more in control of his life. Tasks that had once seemed difficult became manageable. He discovered that by focusing, he could learn faster, create better drawings, and enjoy life more fully. Years passed, and Kabir grew into a young man with a strong, disciplined mind. He decided to start a small business, even though he had almost nothing, just his belief and his newfound focus. Many people laughed at him, "How will you succeed with so little?" they asked. But Kabir remembered the lesson of the magnifying glass and stayed steady. Of course, things didn't always go smoothly. He faced failures, made mistakes, and encountered setbacks. But instead of letting frustration scatter his energy, Kabir learned from each mistake, improved, and patiently continued working. Slowly but surely, his efforts began to pay off. His business grew, and more importantly, it began to touch people's lives in meaningful ways. One day, someone asked Kabir the secret of his success. He smiled and replied, "A focused mind can change your life. I did not find success in money or fame, but in creating something that brings light to others." Kabir's story spread throughout the village and beyond. People admired not just his success, but the calm confidence and inner peace he carried. They realized that Kabir had discovered a golden truth. Your mind is powerful, but only when it is focused. Scattered energy leads nowhere. Steady focus can ignite your potential and create something extraordinary. From that day forward, Kabir lived with purpose. Every task, every relationship, every dream he pursued was approached with full attention. And just like the magnifying glass focused on the sunlight, Kabir's life shone brightly, inspiring everyone who knew him. So, remember, friends, the lesson is simple but powerful. Your mind can achieve anything, but only when you focus it. Stop scattering your energy. Give your full attention to what truly matters and watch your own fire ignite.